I've been using the 4th Arrow camera arm for quite some time now, and I continue to be very happy with it. I was never really able to utilize the multiple bases for multiple trees because I generally can't leave anything in the woods, and therefore I'd leave my shoulder semi-permanently attached to the base. Recently, 4th Arrow came out with a run and gun base, designed to provide a more compact and stable option for those who don't ever need to detach the shoulder. They did add some additional hardware though, so the run and gun base ended up gaining some weight, coming in at nearly 5 pounds. I loved the idea but wasn't a huge fan of the added weight. So, I decided to try and mimic the design using lighter weight materials. Essentially, I made an all aluminum base. Using a sheet of 7075 aircraft grade aluminum alloy, I'd machined the 3 plates, and instead of steel hardware, I decided to buy aluminum threaded rod, stepped up to a 1/2 inch diameter, aluminum lock nuts, and 6061 aluminum tubing for the spacers. This wasn't a cheap mod, as the raw materials ended up costing around $50, which is more than the cost of a steel base new, but I was going for increased performance in my mind, not cost savings. I had never machined 7075 alloy before, but it actually machined quite well. Notice that you can't cut square inside corners with a CNC router like this because of the round end mills, so I had to machine little mouse ears in all the inside corners. The other change I had incorporated into my design was lengthening the plates so that I could space the shoulder a hair further out from the base, which gives more room to use the shoulder tightening tool when compared to the spacing on my old base. After I machined the plates, I assembled the components of the base and attached the shoulder. That allowed me to get a precise location for drilling and tapping a 632 threaded hole in the top of the shoulder. Once that hole was tapped, I took a short 632 bolt and screwed the top plate tight to the top of the shoulder. That little bolt and the washer that went with it were the only steel components I used for this entire build. Even though you lose some range of motion for the shoulder tightening tool by connecting the top plate to the shoulder, the added stability is so worth the trade-off, especially since I'm using aluminum, which bends easier than steel does. After adding a couple stealth strips to the spacers and camo spray paint, it was all done. I reattached my 1-inch low-stretch polyester strap and over-center boat buckle. I love this attachment method for a couple of reasons. Number one, the boat buckle is so light and padded that it really doesn't flop around and make noise when you're carrying it or setting it up. That also makes it really easy to thread the contrasting colored strap through, even in the dark. Number two, it cams over rock solid with just a single light thud. Also, it's significantly lighter than a ratchet, and it's camo. What's not to love? Here, I'm testing how well the new base holds up. You can see the base dig deep into the bark from the camming action of the buckle. It's solid on this tree with no damage to the base. And it's been rock solid on every other tree I've used it in for the past several weeks in the woods. Because of the cost and the equipment, it isn't a super practical modification for most people, but I did achieve my goal of a major weight savings. The combined shoulder and base weighs a hair under 2 pounds 10 ounces including everything, the shoulder tightening tool, the strap, the buckle. Without the strap, it's only 2 pounds 4.5 ounces, a drastic difference over the all-steel option. You know, it might not work well with a larger pro arm and professional camera rig, but I only plan on filming with my Sony AX100, and so far, it's proven quite capable in the woods.